Hello guys, welcome to another JavaScript lesson for beginners. In this lesson we are going to learn about arrays. There are various ways an array can be used in JavaScript, but for the purpose of this lesson we are going to keep things at the beginner's level. So let's get started. In one of the previous lessons we learned about variables, where we can have something like let color be equal to red. So the variable is color and the value is red. If we do console.log color, save, run, we get red. Easy, we already know that. What if I want another color? Let's say let color be blue. Now we cannot do that because we have already used the variable color up here. So we cannot say let color again be blue. If I save and run this, we're supposed to get an error because we have already declared color. What we can do, however, is we can say color blue. That works fine. It means that for, let's say for green, we say color green to be equal to green. So you see that for all the colors we keep trying to find a new variable name. What if we can just have one variable that holds all the colors? So let's call it colors. This is where we can make use of arrays. Let me remove this. So how does array look like in JavaScript? You just create an array with the pair of square brackets. This is an array, the pair of square brackets. An array can have 0 or more items inside it, right? Currently it has nothing inside it. How can we tell if it has something? We can use the length of an array. So basically we can say colors.length. This will tell us how many items are inside the array. So let's call it, let me just do console.log actually. Console.log, what do I want to log? Just want to print how many items are inside the array. Run, we get 0. That means the length of the array is 0. There's nothing inside it for now. What if we add one item, that is a color? If I save and run, we get 1 because there's one item inside the array at this time. We can go ahead and make it 2, blue. Of course, you already know the result. This will show 2 here, right? We can actually print the entire array to see what is inside it. So this gives red, blue, which is exactly what we have inside here. I can go further and add green and all the other colors, but I know you get the point at this point. What if we want to get a value from the array? How do we do that? That brings us to what we call array indexes. When we learned about an object, let me do a quick example. Let user to be equal to an object. Under data types, we scratch the surface of object, so we basically learned a few things about it. We can say name to be John Doe and age to be 30. I don't know. For an object, we can easily access the values inside it through the keys. This is the key, this is the value. This is the key, this is the value. So for example, if I want to get the user, the name of this user, I can do user.name. This will give me the name of the user. I can actually display this on the console using the console.log user.name. I'll save and run the code. We get John Doe. This is easy, right? In the case of array, however, we have to do this differently. You will notice that the array and the object, they don't have the same structure. We don't have keys here. Basically, we have just the values. So what we can do is to access the values inside an array using what is called indexes. So index is basically saying that the first item in the array, we can access the value by saying index 0 using the square brackets again, right? We are not going to say colors dot 0. I mean, that doesn't work. For arrays, we put square brackets. What goes inside it is the index. So let me actually remove the console so it's a bit clearer. Let's say let first item be equal to colors square bracket 0. This will give us the first item here. So let me go ahead and display that. Console.log first item. Clear this, save, run. We get red. So how do we get the second item? You already guessed it. That should be the index 1, right? So let's call the second item. The first is 0, the second is 1, the third is 2, in that order. So what to take note of is that the index does not start with the value 1. Instead, it starts from 0. If we do console.log second item, of course, we get blue. That is the second item. To get the third item, we can actually do 2, index 2. You get the point. So this is how you can access the values inside an array. Now let's look at another thing. What if I want to change the value, one of these values of the array? For example, I want to change this value from blue to black. So what we can do is this. We simply say colors. We access that same position again. In this case, the index is 0, 1, so the index is 1. This we access the blue. We change it to whatever we want to change it by just assigning a value to it. So let me get my second item again. Let second item to be equal to colors 2. Actually 1. I made that mistake. I will clear the console, run. The value is now black. So this is basically how you can change the value of an item in an array. You can do similar thing for the other items as well. So it means that for every item in the array, the index is the item position minus 1. What I mean is this. This is item position. This item takes the first position in the array. If we take first to mean 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. That is why we can access red at index 0. This blue color takes the second position, right? If we take second position to mean 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. So the index of this item is 1. Similarly, this takes the third position. If we take that to mean 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. So the index of this is 2. So basically, an index is n minus 1, such that where n is length of the array. So but this is not something to worry yourself about in case that is confusing. Just know that the index starts from 0, goes all the way up, right? Now let's look at how you can actually push an item to the array. For example, we have red, blue, green. Let's say I want to add another item to it. For now, let me print everything we have. Console.log colors. This is going to print the red, blue, green. Let's say I want to add another color to it, so we can use what is called push. Push is just what we call a function you can call on an array to add item to the end of it. By the end, I mean here, after the last item. So we can say colors.push. What do we want to push? Just another color. Let's say violet. Right? So we pushed another item to the end of it. If I clear the console and run, you can see we have violet at the end of it. We can go ahead and push more items, violet, indigo, etc., etc., and all those will be added accordingly at the end of the array. What if we want to remove? We can do pop. So I can do colors.pop. Pop doesn't take anything, so you just call pop like this with this parenthesis. This is going to remove the last item in the array. Remember that. Okay, let me remove the push so it is clearer. It means that now we have, let me comment this out so it doesn't run. Now I did not save, so save, run. We have the original array that has red, blue, green. When we say pop, that is going to remove the last item from the array. We save and run. You can see we have only red and blue, and at this point the length also drops from 3 to 2. The length is 2 because of this pop here. So we have seen how to add item to the end of the array and how to remove item from the end of the array. What if we want to push item to, let's say, at the beginning of the array? For that case, we use onShift. The onShift adds an item to the beginning of the array. So here, let's say black. Save that. This time I'm going to print colors, everything. Push this up, save and run. You can see we have black at the beginning. To remove an item from the beginning of the array, we use shift. Remember, this is on shift, but this time we are making use of shift. So this is going to remove the first item in the array. I will save, clear this console, run the code. You see that red is gone. We have only blue and green. Now let's look at nested arrays. You can actually have an array inside another array. So let's say we have countries. This is countries. List of countries. I can actually put this into multiple lines. Countries to be equal to, remember that empty lines, empty space like this doesn't matter in JavaScript. So inside here, I want to have, let's say for African countries, we have Ghana, we have Nigeria, we have Egypt, come on, Egypt, and so on and so forth. For Europe, we have Germany, France, and etc., etc. You get the point. Asia, Australia, America, all that. So what is going on here is that we basically have something similar to what we had earlier. Come on, So this is just similar to what we have before. Don't mind the extra lines, it's just for readability. Now we still have the kind of array we had previously. This is not a nested array. So for example, why are you formatting it for me? No problem. For example, if I do console.log and I want to get Egypt, that should be index 0, 1, 2. So console.log countries item at index 2, that will give me Egypt. Clear and run, we get Egypt, right? So what I actually want to do is to make use of nested arrays. My editor keeps formatting the code for me. That is why it is just removing those lines. What I actually want to do is to group these by their continent. So the first 3 items are in Africa. What I will do is inside this array, I will create another array, then African countries goes inside there. I'm going to put a comma at the end of that, just the same way we have commas after each item. This whole thing is treated as one item inside the bigger countries array. So this smaller array is just like one item, just like having a value here, right? That is what this is. So we put the comma and then the next item, which is the European countries. So what we have now is an array or arrays inside another array. This is nested array. The question now is, how do we access values inside the nested arrays? It is simple. Let's say I want to get the first item. Remember that all these is one item inside the country. So I will basically do, let's say, let African countries be equal to, what do? We say countries 0. That will give us the first item in this array. Why not print that to the console? Console.log African countries. Save, run that. You can see we get Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt. Cool. To get the European countries, we go index 1. That will refer to the second item in the array. Clear the console, save and run. What is the error? Unexpected end. Okay, that was weird because I just ran the code again. I can't really find out there's no error in this. That was strange. I will save and run this one more time. We get the European countries, but this is just giving us all the items as a single array value. What we want to do next is to access one of the African countries or one of the European countries, and that is straightforward. Since this gives us an array, these African countries, let me change it back to 0 to actually refer to the African countries. Since this gives us an array, we basically have another array to work with, right? So let's say let second Africa country, that is fine. So what we can do is African countries, we access index 1 because this is also an array. This is index 0, index 1, which gives us Nigeria. So second African country, console.log that, run, we get Nigeria. So you can see that this gives us the first item in the bigger array, and then this gives us the second item in the smaller array. It therefore means that we can actually do this in one line. We can actually access each of these items, any of these items, in one line. How can we do that? Let me use the European country for that example, France. We say let second Euro country get the point. So we can say countries. I'll copy this so you actually see it, not that I cannot type it. I copied from the first line, but the 0 index gives us Africa, the 1 index gives us Europe. And then we just go one more step, put another bracket here. This is equivalent to what we did at this line. Put another bracket, and at this point we want to get France, so the index is 1. So what is going on here? One more time. For the bigger array, the countries index 1 is for the European countries. That is what we have here. But because this is also an array, we want to get France, which is at index 1 again. That is why we have this. So if I say second Euro console.log that, save, run, we get France, right? So simple, I believe so. So to recap everything, we are saying that to create an array in JavaScript, you basically use the square brackets. To get length of items in array, you say the array dot length, in this case countries dot length. To access items inside an array, you use the item index. We have red, blue. So to get item at the first index, that should be index 0. So we basically say countries index 0. That will give us red. What about changing the value? We can say this to be black. So this will change the first item value to be black. To add item to the end of the array, we use push. So we can say country.push. Let's say green. That will add green to the end of the array. To remove item from an array, we use pop without anything inside the parentheses. That will remove the last item from an array. What about adding item to the beginning of array? We use on shift. So this will add item to the beginning of the array. And to remove item from the beginning of the array, we say shift. This will remove the first item at the beginning of the array. And finally, we said that we can have nested arrays, right? You can have something like this, where you have arrays inside array. You can even go further and have another one, something like that. So guys, this is a quick rundown of the basics, how we can use arrays in JavaScript. Until next time, happy coding.